Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another exciting episode of Grant Source Live. And today I have a special guest. I got the $1 billion balloon man. But before we get to him, let's go to our sponsors who graciously sponsored this show. So officefurniture.com, we all, whether you're a nonprofit, a social enterprise, you need somewhere to sit when you're at the office. So they have discounted furniture up to 70% off for our community members. You can find that in the community offer section of our app. And all of us have seen those entrepreneurs and their trials and their tribulations. Wouldn't it be good if you heard from them firsthand what they would do differently if they were at this point again? Mixergy has over 1,000 interviews with the top entrepreneurs of our lifetime that have been interviewed by Mr. Andrew Warner. So thank you to our sponsors. Now, Stuart, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well, dude. Thanks for asking.
So for those of you that don't know Stuart, and we're going to show a few of pictures of his work in a minute, but Stuart is actually in his car. He's really doing it. He's an entrepreneur. And he just came from an installation, and he has all his gear in his car, man. I love that.
Car's packed.
So, Stuart, tell us where you're from, man, and how Blow Up Success started, your path, what you're passionate about. Let's start with where you're from.
So, I guess to first kind of set the stage, I'm in the business of blowing up, which sounds crazy, and it sounds like something you wouldn't take seriously. I build massive balloon sculptures, but we use them to kind of help companies and clients and nonprofits connect with their target market and engineer moments that make them stand out against the competition. So they're world-class balloon sculptures. They're a lot of fun to make, and they really level up the pictures. And it didn't start that way. I was homeless when I first started, and the balloons were the last thing in the world I wanted to do. I'd moved to Austin. I was working on entrepreneurial gigs, trying to survive, and I was a pizza delivery boy to make ends meet. And that doesn't make very much money, obviously. So I started making balloon roses at the stoplights, and my tips went through the roof. And put it off. And finally ended up getting fired for making the balloon roses. And that day, it was a Saturday morning, I went to an event that was going on in Austin, and I pulled in almost $900 in tips in like almost 11 hours of all cash tips making balloons. And that was kind of like a tipping point for the way that I perceived the business to be. So now it's just a matter of hustling and helping other people blow up in the process.
Excellent, man. So that was in Austin. You're from Austin, Texas?
Yeah, I guess apparently I live in Austin. I travel so much at this point. I've been in Miami and Alabama, Pensacola. I'm down in the valley right now. I'm never in Austin, but I live there. Yeah.
So what organizations want to hear is you're doing it. You went to, how many miles do you have on that car? I know.
280,000 miles. I put 200,000 of it myself. I got the car actually as part of I worked with a dealership. I helped them do some big balloon sculptures when I was first getting started. And as payment and then for a storyline, they gave me this Acura TSX, and I love this thing. But it was one of the first big installations I ever did was for a dealership.
So exchanging product for cars already, going from not just pizza delivery, from Italian dough transportation to just blowing up.
Right. Yep. And we're doing big stuff too now, man. We're doing stuff with like the Texas Rangers, the NRA national conventions. I've got a massive nonprofit out in LA coming up here pretty soon. I just did Grant Cardone's conference with like 35,000 people. The balloons were on stage twice.
Hold on. I think we have a picture of that conference. These aren't balloons at your little daughter's birthday. I mean, look at that.
Yeah, man. 35,000 people saw that.
One of the largest, if I'm not correct, in the world, right? There's over 35,000 people there.
It is the largest in the world. Yes, sir.
And he did the installation. We have a couple. I mean, that just to be in the same room with Grant Cardone. I mean, we're not talking about little animals at Chuck E. Cheese. These are the real deal. You want to differentiate yourself against your competition. I mean, look at some of these. And how big are some of these sculptures, Stuart?
Yeah, well, they tend to be somewhere in the neighborhood of about 18,000 balloons. Kind of as an average, take about 18 to 20 hours to make. And they're solo projects, which is really unique in the industry. There's not a lot of people that do what we do, and those of us that do usually have teams, and they're exorbitantly expensive. And so I've just put my head down and hustled and been able to add value that other people wouldn't otherwise be able to because of the expense that they have associated with it.
Wow. I mean, those 18,000 balloons, and he's doing this himself. Just
yeah, it's all-nighters, lots of coffee.
Wow. Talk about, if you could tell our audience, and we can just see it ourselves, what kind of impact have you been able to create these balloons? And actually, before we go there, what made you so why balloons? What made you so passionate? Was it just a feeling? How'd you?
I'm going to be honest with you. Balloons were the last thing I enjoyed the balloons, and it was something I was always good at even as a kid. But I was a professional clown when I was like 12, and you know, the world does not take you seriously when you're a professional clown. Like, it kind of bleeds into every part of your life. Like, you're paid to make a fool of yourself. And so it really was the last thing that I wanted to do. And it was really when I realized that the only way to get people to take you seriously is to take yourself seriously, that any of this ever materialized into something that I enjoyed, to be honest. Now it's just a blast, man. I'm able to do things that most people aren't able to. I meet a lot of celebrities. If I'm at an event, I have a way to kind of bypass all the bureaucracy and get backstage with these guys because nobody else in the country is going to make a balloon version of them. And that's really the impact that I enjoy making is I get to engineer moments that nobody else can, and they're memorable. You know, there's massive balloon backdrops, there's people in balloon costumes, there's balloon mascots for major organizations. It's just a really neat niche that makes everything really exciting.
I mean, that's excellent. From doing large conferences to even one of the things that we talked about, an installation he's going to do is a massive balloon sculpture outside of the doors of some kids that have cancer.
Right.
I mean, so they can look out their windows. They may not be mobile, but that has a huge impact. So think about doing things like that for your organizations, and when you can really capture your audience, ultimately they'll want to give to your cause because these sculptures are very intentional. Think about that first balloon you got when you were at that Chuck E. Cheese, and then magnify that times 1,000. So,
yeah.
At this balloon. So what you're doing is incredible, man. And
thanks, man.
We're excited to see all the different places that you go. And we are having our first annual conference, and we will have a balloon sculpture at the first annual Grant Source Live in June. So
awesome.
Yeah,
love to
appreciate that, man. What else, man? What can our community do for you, Stuart?
Well, for me, you know, if there's an event out there that wants to go over the top to connect and engineer moments that most people have, that's my target market. I don't push the idea of balloon sculptures on people that don't see the vision because it's not a fit for everybody. But I do work with a lot of, you know, Fortune 500 companies. I've got a dental company of all things, a dental client. That's my biggest client. So if they see it, if they want to be a part of it, if they want to create moments with their customers, then, you know, pass my name out, blowupsuccess.com. Make sure you check it out. Make sure you check out my Instagram. I'm really proud of my website, but just, yeah, I mean, anything I can do to help you guys blow up. I'm in the business of helping you guys create results.
Nice. And so talk about a few, not only, I mean, we're talking conferences, we're talking galas, just fundraisers, even outside fundraisers.
Marketing campaign.
What else? A dental client, people wouldn't think, you know, a dental office would just have a bunch of balloons, but they're your largest client.
They are, yeah. They've kind of recognized that the one place where everyone's kind of blowing it in the dental industry and every other industry is the customer aspect. You know, they're the dentist. You come to them for dentists. There's no innovation in the dental industry, and they don't really care about the customers. And these guys have kind of flipped it on their head. And they think, no, we're in the art and entertainment business, and as long as there's people coming into our office, we need to treat them, you know, like family. And so I put a balloon in their hand. I create cool pictures for them to take, and that's just as much genius on their part as it is an experiment on mine, kind of using my skill to add value to them. But and that's the way the world is changing. You know, you're either creating a customer experience or somebody else's, and that's the difference between, you know, blowing up and just totally blowing it. Yeah. It's the way that I'm operating the business, at least.
You see what he's doing there, blowing up. We're totally blowing it. I love that. And we're going to have the dental office, Dr. Z. He's going to be on our show in a few months, too. So we appreciate the time, Stuart. And I know we met at Presentation Power, not only this year, but for the second time down in Houston. What do you like about the Grant Source platform?
Yeah, man. Okay. I could answer the question. I honestly, what I appreciate most is the fact that you're so proactive about sharing the information, because I didn't know even what I didn't know about the whole process. It wasn't on my radar at all. And the time that you took to kind of sit down and share the information with me and what I could have access to and the things that I'm missing out on, I was totally unaware of that stuff. So as far as the platform is concerned, I appreciate the effort that you've put into explaining it when I didn't even know that I needed it, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Most people don't know. And Grant Source, we are the platform to help you find money for your mission. We're the team that you need to get the money that you deserve. I want to thank both of our sponsors, OfficeFurniture.com, Mixergy. I want to give a special thanks to the $1 billion balloon man. And I said it here first. That's what he is. He doesn't know it yet, but I'm speaking that into his existence. So thank you, Stuart, for being on.
Growing an empire. I appreciate it, Alan. You're the man.
Absolutely,
this has been fun.
Man. And as always, I am Alan Thornton, the founder and executive director of Grant Source. And remember, it's not about the money. It's all about the impact. You have a blessed day.
Blow it up. Very nice.